My downstairs neighbour is going to be so confused if he can hear me filming this, because I started this video and I got 10 minutes into it and then decided I hated it. So I've started again. But before we get into the video, Happy New Year, happy 2026. I'm Hannah, if you're new here. I am a museum exhibition manager and theatre lover and lover of reading and all things based in the south of England. I'm originally from Wales, and I thought it would be a good idea to start the year off. I know it's not technically starting the year off because I have uploaded this year, but that was a sort of 2025 roundup. I'd start the year off, my first sit down video, as setting some goals for 2026. Now, I'm not going to stick too strictly to these. I know that sounds sort of counterintuitive, but I'm not going to hold myself to too high of a standard. That sounds wrong. I'm not going to be super strict on myself with these. I'm not going to sort of penalise myself if I don't hit them all. But I think having some goals in place and having a video where I sort of lay out some intentions for the year will be a good thing at the end of the year, because then I can look back on it and see how things are going. So the reason I am re-recording this video is because originally I hadn't made any notes about it, and it just got very rambly and I didn't really know what I was saying and I wasn't super happy with it. So I stopped that, sat down, made a list in my notebook, and I will go through it now. Now, I'm not sure how interesting this is going to be for people, but I've been really loving seeing people's posts on Instagram about their 2026 ins and outs. I don't know what my outs would be, but I think I'll just go through my list, and these are definitely my ins. So I've sort of split it up into different sections. There's 5 main sections. There's probably more things that I'm forgetting even with my list, but these are the things that I want to really focus on. So my first goals are reading goals. Now, every year I set myself a reading goal. I didn't hit it last year. I passed it the year before that. I think I hit it the year before that. So I'm pretty inconsistent with my goals. A couple of months ago, I made a video on YouTube. It's got 2 views, so no one saw it. But I basically spoke about how I've put too much pressure on myself with reading this year, or last year, sorry. And it meant that I didn't really, I sort of burnt myself out. I was in a bit of a reading slump for quite a lot of the year. So I've lowered my Goodreads goal this year, or my Storygraph goal, sorry, I don't use Goodreads. I've lowered my Storygraph goal to 40 books this year. I think so far I've read collectively about 150 pages of a book that I've been reading since October, but I think going a bit steadier about it is going to be a much better way of keeping consistency. The book I'm reading at the moment is Salem's Lot by Stephen King. Now, you'll be able to know when I started this because I made a TikTok about it. It's one of the very few sort of sit-downy TikToks I've ever made or started to make, and I basically said I really struggled with it. I'm really enjoying the book, it's a good book, but I do live by myself and it's a little bit creepy, so there's only certain times a day I can read it. But because of that, I'm just taking it slow, and I'm hoping that by setting that slightly lower goal for this year, I think I had 50 books set for last year, so 40 books this year I think is doable. The other thing that I've set myself as a reading related goal this year is I am not allowing myself to buy any new books. I have a physical TBR of over 100 books, which is ridiculous, and it all comes from the fact that I started my Bookstagram in 2020, so all I could really do was sort of stay home and order books, and I just never managed to get that. I never read as quick as I could buy. So the only caveat to that being, this year, if I'm in charity shops or secondhand shops or whatever, and I see an edition of a book I love, so recently I found a Folio Society version of the book Rebecca, which is my favourite book of all time. So that got added to my collection, and there are certain books that I am only buying secondhand as well. So any sort of cozy crime books, because you always find them. I never buy them new. If they're ones I haven't got, I will buy them because they're, what, £2.50, and the money usually goes to charity, so that is worth it. But they're the only books I'm allowing myself to buy until I have taken some books off my TBR. I think as well at the end of this year, because a lot of these books have been on my shelf for so long, if I haven't read them by the end of this year, I will be unhauling some books. Now, I really struggle to do this. I really struggle to get rid of books. Even if I've read them and didn't like them, I like to keep them on my shelf to prove that I've read them as like some type of trophy. But I don't know. We'll wait and see close to the time what I do about those ones. But if we get to the end of the year and there are books that I've not even thought about picking up, I think it's time for them to go. The second category of goal that I have this year is all to do with like experiences and basically making the most of my spare time. So I saw a thing a couple of months ago that said, if you say that you don't have time to do things, but your screen time is over 3 hours or something, then you have time, you're just using it wrong. And I am particularly guilty of that because I can sit and get lost on Instagram or TikTok for literally hours. So this year, basically, whenever I feel myself starting to scroll, I'm gonna do something else. So I've started journaling, which I love. It's sort of a cross between a journal and a junk journal, so it's a bit more creative and scrappy than a normal, like, very nice posh journal would be. But I found that's really helpful. If I'm starting to sort of scroll things, I will put my journal out and write down plans or ideas or things like that. But the other thing that I want to do is use my weekends better, because I will usually sort of get to a weekend and have had a week in work, as people so often do, and I'll get to the weekend and think, oh, I'll just relax for a bit and not do anything. But then I realised I've lived where I live now for about a year and a half, 2 years, coming up on 2 years, and there's loads of things I haven't done. I haven't been to many of the places around by me. I haven't done much sort of like touristy stuff, and I think that is a shame because of where I live. I'm so well connected to a lot of the south of England. I kind of need to make the most of that because a lot of people don't have that opportunity. So that is my plan for this year. I'm going to start it this weekend. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to start sort of pushing myself to do things with my time. Yeah, I've just put plan your time better. So it's just all to do with organisation and sort of changing the mindset from I don't have time to do this to I do have time to do this, I just have to not be on my phone as much, basically. My next subsection of goals are all to do with hobbies, so different hobbies that I've got, different things that I want to do. And I'm a bit of a hobby collector, so I will pick up anything. I will give everything a try because I just like to be doing things. I like to keep learning things. So I crochet, I taught myself to knit last year, I cross stitch, I've started beading, I embroider, all sorts of things. But because of that, I've got loads of unfinished projects, and I do find that a little bit stressful. I was talking about this with someone in work the other day, the fact that I will get bored of a project and I will put it down and not finish it. So I've got so many sort of 75% finished projects that all just kind of need to be finished. So this year I'm going to take 12 of them, and there are more than 12 of them, but I will take 12 and allocate each of them a month. And basically by the end of the month, so by the end of January, I'm going to have finished one of those projects. So hopefully that's like doable. That's a good way of me being like, right, I'm going to finish this and I'm going to finish that. And then by the end of the year, I'll have less unfinished stuff around. The other thing to do with hobbies is, and this is a little bit counterintuitive to the whole like less screen time thing, I really want to get back into playing like video games or cozy games or just any type of game. I was always a Nintendo kid growing up. I had a DS, I had a 3DS, which I still got, the Wii, which is in my flat currently, and I got a Switch 2 for Christmas because I'm an adult. And basically I just want to get back into it because I love like the storytelling of games and I like playing them, but for some reason I've just not done it recently. And I mean, like, as soon as I got the Switch, Cozy Bookshop, that's a brilliant game. I got really into that. I was like addicted to it over Christmas and New Year. And it sort of reminded me of why I love playing them so much. So I'm going to make more time for that as well. Basically, the theme of this section is like do more of what makes you happy, because I have a lot of hobbies and very little to show for them. So yeah, I think goal-wise for those is just actually do them and not feel bad, because I'm one of those people that if I'm sat doing something like that, I'll be like, oh, I could be doing this right now, or I could be doing that, or I could be, I don't know, working on something else. And I think I just need to stop stressing like that, basically. So yeah, that's the goal with them. For the first time ever, I am setting myself social media goals. And this is because I really enjoy using social media. I'm not very good at it, but I enjoy it. So obviously I started YouTube last year. I started YouTube in summer and then sort of let it slip for a while because I didn't know how I felt about it, and then really started posting again in October. And I've really enjoyed having the sort of routine of like filming a video in the week, editing it, and trying to get it up for a Saturday or sometimes a Sunday morning, or over Christmas when that just went out the window and I think it was like a random Wednesday evening. But I would like to keep making videos here because I'm feeling like I'm getting more confident with it, and I think I'm learning things that are useful, and it just gives me like, it's that time planning thing. It's like it gives me something to focus on. So like today I knew that I was going to go to work, I had a meeting which I planned for, and then I worked from home this afternoon, cooked, and then I knew I was going to be making a video. So it was quite nice to like have the day planned out and know how it was going to go. So I'm going to keep with the one video a week thing on YouTube because I simply can't do more because I'm not that great at editing and it still takes me ages, but it's nice to have the sort of routine of it. My second social media goal is to post more consistently on Instagram. I have had my Bookstagram, for I think 5 years, 6 years this year because it was 2020. And I've been pretty stagnant in the follow account area for about a year and a half. And I know it's because I don't post consistently enough. So this year I really want to try and make an effort to change that. Ironically, I've only posted twice this year and my idea was to post much more frequently than that. But I would like to post more and hopefully get my numbers up a little bit, just because I'm always on there. And that's the other thing, is like I spend so much time scrolling on Instagram and liking other people's stuff and then not actually doing anything for myself. So maybe I should set myself a goal of like, you can only go on Instagram if you're going on to post something, and then sort of go and have a scroll after. Maybe that's the idea. I might do that. It probably won't happen, but I'm hoping that I will be able to post more consistently on there and try different things as well. So I'm going to post more reels because they definitely get more views. I know it's not all about the numbers, but I'm going to try and play the social media game for a bit and just see how it goes. And in that vein, I'm gonna this is insane now that I'm saying all these things out loud, because I'm like, I've gone from having sort of time to sit and scroll. I'm not going to be able to sit on my phone because I've got so many things I want to do. I want to start posting more on TikTok. It's something that I've never really sort of embraced. I think my TikTok at the moment is some very, very old Instagram reels that I re-uploaded to TikTok. It is some videos from the Eras tour from London Nightfall, and it is 2 videos of me talking about books and a yearly roundup from the end of the year last year. Very sporadic, a bit of an eclectic mix of everything, but I think there's a way for me to use TikTok to my advantage this year. This all sounds very calculated, it's not. Basically, I want to start getting my head back into like the research side of things, because I work in a museum, I work in exhibitions, and there are like skills that sometimes you don't have to use for a while. So my idea for my TikTok is to make very short, I'm thinking 1 minute, maybe maximum 1 minute 20 videos about theatre history. I've started scripting some out, so they are going to be much more sort of condensed and focused. But I'm hoping that by doing that I will get my head back in like the researching game and get really excited about the subject of theatre history for reasons that will become apparent later on in the video. But I thought if I could do that, I could do one of those a week. That's like a once a week thing. That could be a midweek thing maybe. I'd have a video going up here on a Saturday and then Instagram posts sort of interspersed between that. I think between all of those, that should keep me like creatively fulfilled outside of work, if that makes sense. So the final subsection of goals that I've got for this year are a lot bigger. A lot of the ones that I've said so far are sort of quick wins to a degree. So they're going to be either repetitive things that I can sort of just get in the routine of, or they're going to be things that are like ongoing goals. So like the book thing, like reading 40 books, only reading books on my bookshelf, things like that. The next two sound insane out of context. The first of which is I want to look at doing a PhD. Now, I'm not sure who watches these videos. I'm not sure sort of what your backgrounds are. I don't know if I've ever really talked about my sort of education career trajectory on here, and this might actually be a separate video because it's something that I think about quite a lot, and I've been thinking about it quite a lot at the moment. So when I was 18, I went to university and did 3 years of an undergraduate degree, graduated that was all good. I went straight on to a master's in cultural heritage and resource management and then finished that. I'm just trying to figure out how old I would have been, 18, 19, 20, 21. So I would have been 22 when I finished my master's. For a year then, I was a tour guide until I was 23. At 23, I got my first job in a museum as exhibition manager. That was a maternity contract. So that year was up. I went straight into another exhibition manager role, which is why I moved here a year and a half ago. I'm now 26. The math is weird because of where the dates of the jobs were. Like I got the jobs in June and my birthday's in November. So the dates are weird. But yeah, I very quickly went from sort of education into full-time professional job in the field I wanted. And I thought about it the other day as well, like kind of straight in at the top. I'm not knocking it. I it's a crazy career trajectory, especially in museums and heritage, which is sort of notoriously difficult to get into. But it does mean that I've sort of got that mindset, and I always have had that mindset of like, what's next? What's the next thing? What's the next? And I think you can probably tell by the lists that I'm making and the sort of goals that I've got that has always been my mindset. And a PhD is something I've wanted since I finished my master's, basically. I've always wanted to have a PhD, and I think it would be really cool to have a PhD in theatre history. I've got some ideas already, so I'm going to start sort of earnestly looking into that this year, because that is something that I would really like to do, and I think for the value that it would add to me professionally, that would be really worth it. Obviously it's a huge commitment. I think it's either 4 years full-time or 7 years part-time or whatever, so it's not going to be a quick thing, but the sooner I start it, the sort of sooner it's happening. And I think that's just something I'd really enjoy. Check back in with me if I if I start a PhD, if I still say I'm enjoying it, because I can guarantee I probably won't be. But yeah, that is a sort of big goal that I want to look into this year. I think another goal of mine this year is to move, and I've got a really good thing going here in this flat. Like, I love this flat. It's my first flat outside of university that's like mine, but it is a studio, so I can see everything from here. I would quite like a flat with walls, or even just a separate kitchen would be quite nice. And I don't know where that would take me. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I think that is quite a big goal and a bit of a priority for me, especially as well because I I have a lot of stuff, and I would quite like a space that's like mine, that I feel like is mine long term, because this flat, as much as I love it, has always felt a little bit like this is a first flat. Like, it doesn't even have a washing machine because of the building is grade 2 listed, and there was something to do with not having washing machines because of the damage it could cause, basically. So even just for the convenience of that, I would quite like to move. So again, that's a massive thing. That's a massive, like, uprooting my life type of thing. Maybe moving and the PhD go hand in hand, who knows? But they're like my two they're my two far-reaching goals of this year. But that is it in terms of my goals. If anyone else has set themselves goals for the year, let me know what they are. Let me know if any of them are similar to mine. I think mine are a bit weird, especially when you put them all together. It's a bit of an eclectic mix of things, but I just really felt like this was the year that I need to sort of lock in with it a bit. I don't know why. I've just had a vibe about 2026 from the beginning that something is gonna change. I don't know what that is, but I don't know if anyone else is feeling it. If anyone else has felt that 2026 is gonna be a really good year, then let me know, because I want to know whether it's just me or whether, like, for the world it's going to be a good year. Who knows? I hope so. I think that's it for this video. I think I'm going to wrap it up now because it's getting a bit like that first one that I filmed, which you won't see because I've deleted it, but it's getting a bit rambly. So if you have liked this video, leave a like, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and if you would like to see more from me, or keep up with any of these goals. Hopefully I'll be able to do some, like, progress videos throughout the year. That would be fun. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.